Ladies and gentlemen, before we get into today's conversation, I want to share a little bit about 2Before, today's presenting sponsor of the podcast. I've worked with 2Before for over 2 years now, and it's really cool to work with partners long-term, and 2Before has been there for me for a long time, and they make an incredible product that I'm always happy to talk to you guys about. Breaking down 2Before for you, if you're unfamiliar, 2Before is made up of blackcurrant powder, and if you're not familiar with blackcurrants, they are antioxidant berries grown in New Zealand, and studies have shown that consuming them regularly improves endurance by increasing blood flow and removing lactic acid, and they also can manage inflammation and kickstart muscle recovery, meaning you can hit your next training session just as strong as you did the previous day. Today, I have a special code for you, the Running Effect 30, which will give you 30% off of your purchase. And I'm really excited to hear the testimonials of you guys trying it out because I firmly believe this stuff works and is a great asset to your training. Without further ado, enjoy my conversation of the podcast today.
Oh, I kind of got chills here just thinking about it. Since we haven't had a lot of good runners historically, I know that a lot of people are very happy that we finally have someone that could be a contender. If I could bring home a medal to Sweden, that would obviously mean very much to me, because I really feel that I have the support of the Swedes.
That was Andreas Almgren today on the Running Effect podcast. I love this conversation, guys. Andreas has sprung onto the scene as one of the best runners in the world. Get this, he's run 3:32 in the 1500, 12:44 in the 5K, 26:52 in the 10K, 26:53 in the road 10K, and 59:23 in the half marathon, becoming the first man from Sweden under 60 minutes. The 1500 and 10K on the track were both Swedish records, and then the 5K on the track and the 10K on the roads were European records. Guys, this man is on a hunt. He's on a hunt for medals. He's on a hunt for wins. He's on a hunt to chase record-breaking times, and he's doing it all. Today's conversation was amazing. We dive very deep into his training. We talk about double threshold, how fast he runs on easy runs, the volume he's doing. He makes a joke about Americans loving their long runs. I ask him the biggest difference between American distance running and training versus European distance running and training. We get exclusive stories from him training with Jakob Ingebrigtsen, as well as his plan and quest for gold and medals in Tokyo this upcoming September for the 2025 World Track and Field Championships. I love this one. Guys, pass it around, share it with a friend, help us to grow the show. I'm so passionate about this podcast. Want to impact as many runners as possible, so pass this one around. Give us a 5-star review. It takes 5 seconds, and hit the follow and subscribe button so you never miss another episode. And without further ado, enjoy my conversation. What a privilege it is to speak with record breaker Andreas Almgren. Andreas Almgren, welcome to the Running Effect podcast. How are you doing this evening? Where you're based in Switzerland right now?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me. It's always nice when you're done for the day. It's nice just chilling, getting ready for dinner.
What's the go-to dinner, and what does your diet normally look like, specifically when you're traveling, you're on training camps, maybe not as much as it would be at home?
Here in St. Moritz, we actually rent apartments, so we basically cook all of our meals. So it's a lot of carbs. Usually pasta, rice, potatoes, and then some kind of protein to it. Making some pasta bolognese today. So that's kind of a staple here.
Fancy. What's your favorite carb? Yeah. Favorite carb source? If you could only have one for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Probably pasta. It would be hard to give up bread, but I'll go with pasta.
What's your favorite cut of pasta? If you had to choose,
tagliatelle maybe.
I don't know if I've ever seen that one.
Yeah, it's like fettuccine maybe.
Okay, yes.
Kind of like like flat spaghetti, baby, basically.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I think you kind of took the world by storm, or as you were describing to me a minute ago, maybe just a subset of the world by storm. As you said, you didn't feel like America knew that much about you. I personally am very involved in the sport. I don't think I'd heard your name. It's like, who is this guy who ran 12:44? Someone DM'd me. They were like, you got to get him on the podcast. So here we are. We're men of the people having you on the podcast. Has it been kind of a crazy whirlwind since that race, or not too much?
Kind of crazy. But the day after the race, I headed over to St. Moritz. So it's kind of a nice place to just get away from it all and come back to have a few easy days and then go back into training. But my mobile was quite hot for a couple of days there.
I feel like when you look at your stats, you've run 3:32 flat in the 15 Swedish record, and you've also run 59:23 in the half marathon, becoming the first Swede under 60 minutes. That to me, when I read that, I'm like, oh, of course you're in, roughly within 12:44 makes sense. So for you, did it feel like that much of a breakthrough, or did you see this coming all along?
I did see it, maybe not like that I could do it like the race unfolded, but for the race in Stockholm, it was basically me who decided the wave lights. And I wanted it to be for the European record, and I wanted it to be set up as gradually increasing the pace and everything. So I had 12:45 in my mind before that race. I ran 12:50 last year in Oslo, and I feel that I was much more well prepared for this race. So it didn't really come as a surprise for me.
How do you run 3:32 and 59:23? That's quite the range. How do you train for that? And obviously, there's some talent and ability mixed in. We see specialists all the time in the sport. It's like you either do the 15 or you do the half marathon, and both of those times are elite in their own right. So, how are you excellent at multiple things on the spectrum?
It's like the answer to basically every question the last few years. The Norwegian method, double threshold.
Is that what it is?
Um,
Would you say?
yeah, yeah. It's basically like if you for the base training, when you do that kind of stuff, you build a very big aerobic base, and then you can just switch the specific workouts before the coming races. So when I'm in full base training for like 5K or maybe a 1500, I'm very aerobically fit, and then it fits very well with a half marathon. Um, I did it last year, and it wasn't really something I targeted. It was just like, yeah, it's nice change of pace to break the training with a half marathon, and it went pretty well.
I think double threshold is kind of joked about in the States. Not everyone does it, but a few specific pro athletes have started to. And it kind of has this aura, this like mystique to it where people don't know if the people who say it works, if they're joking, if they're serious, because it's joked about all the time. Why do you feel like it works? And what are the benefits you've seen, in your own personal life and training from it?
Basically, just that you get a lot of mileage at a quite high pace, but it doesn't tear too much on the body. So, I mean, the philosophy is basically that you should try to be as aerobically fit as you can, and then after that be able to do a lot of things in race pace for the races. So double threshold is just a way to get really fit. You can do it in whatever type of way you want, but for me it's very good because you have a lot of control when you measure lactate, and you stay in the right zone. I've had a lot of injuries in my career, and a lot of them is just because of too high intensity. And for me, double threshold is a good way of just staying in the right zone.
So you find for yourself that, would you say you're doing more maybe quantity of work, but not as fast, and you feel like that's allowed you to stay healthy, stack weeks on weeks, and that's ultimately what's led to a lot of the progress?
Yeah, exactly. And when you do the threshold, you can do everything from like 400s up to just a steady 12K run or something like that. But when you do the 10K, the 400s, it's basically your 10K pace. So that's also a very good specific workout for like 10K or longer. And you don't develop that much lactate during that kind of workout. So you're feeling pretty fresh the day after, even though you have run 10 or 12K in your 10K race pace. And I think that's like the major benefit.
How does double threshold training compare to what you used to be doing? And was that a shift for you at first when you started doing it? Obviously, more sessions in a day, maybe less intense, whole different training system.
Yeah. So when I had my first breakthrough, it was 11 years ago at the World Juniors in Eugene, 2014. At that point, I was an 800-meter runner. So I ran 1:45.65 when I was 19. And at that point, it wasn't a lot of mileage. It was a lot of hard workouts, a lot of lactic sessions. And like the years after that breakthrough, I guess I had something like 7 or 8 stress fractures or stress reactions. And that is basically just comes from the high intensity training. Then in end of 2019, I started doing this double threshold system. Just tried it out. And in the following winter, I ran the 3K on our indoor nationals. It was the first time I ever ran a 3K, and I ended up breaking our national indoor record. So it's like, okay, yeah, this kind of is probably something that works for me. So after that, I just switched completely from the high intensity stuff to the more high volume controlled intensity.
Obviously, in the thick of the Diamond League circuit and preparing for the World Championships, ultimately, I'm sure training looks a little bit different now than it did in the base phase. How does double threshold kind of evolve throughout the season? And are you doing as much, in these periods where you're training to run 12:44 and now on to the next race, or does it taper down a little bit after you get through the base phase?
Yeah, it's a bit of taper down. During my base phase, I'm staple weeks at like between 190 and 200k per week, and I basically have 5 threshold workouts per week and one more little more high intensity, usually hills. Then now during race season, it's not as much threshold. I would say like I do a double every other week, basically. Now I focus on race pace. So I'm gonna do that up until my next race, which is the 5K in Monaco in about 2.5 weeks. But after that, I'm going back to the basics again to build up the aerobic base once again before the Worlds.
Speaking of those specific sessions, I think something got floated on the internet that my jaw dropped at, that you did a session that started out with a 3K and you started out with a 740. One, are you a human? And two, how often do you do those sort of sessions?
I believe I'm human, but yeah, I haven't done too much testing. No, but it's not a session that you really need to do. I would say that I did that instead of a rust buster. I had targeted the Stockholm Diamond League for quite a while, and I wanted my engine to be going before that race. And so basically I wanted to simulate a race, but without the stress of traveling, sleep at a hotel, risk and illness, and I can do it like more on my own terms. So it was I'm not going to do that kind of session more this year, and it was my only one. So everyone out there, you really don't need to do that. If your target is longer, like a few months into the season or a few weeks after, it's like race instead. This was just to get the engine started.
How different does the training look like, the specific sessions look like when you're training for something like a 5K versus, running that 59:23, or was the 59:23 off the back of just normal track and field training?
The 59:23, I did it in middle of February, I believe. And I guess I had 2 kind of like specific half marathon workouts. I was up in Sierra Nevada at that time at 2,300 meters of altitude. So I guess that's a bit over 7,000 feet. So I didn't do much in race pace, more like just got the body accustomed to running quite fast for quite some time. For I think one of the session was 3x6K on a treadmill, and then on the track I did like 6x2K plus 3x1K or something like that. Nothing special. Now before 5K, up until Monaco, I'm gonna do a lot of like repetitions between like 600 and 1K around race pace. and maybe like a couple of like 300s, 200s, maybe in more 1500, 800 meter pace to just feel sharp. But it's still quite controlled. Obviously, it's not threshold. It's more lactic than that. But it should still feel controlled, and you should always have another gear left when you're done. But I almost do that like every other day now. So it's a lot of mileage in high intensities.
It's one thing to run a fast time. It's another thing to win races. If I'm not mistaken, you won that Diamond League that you ran the 12:44 at. Am I correct in saying that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So anyone can run fast if other people in front of them are running fast. It's another to be the first one across the line. Which was more meaningful, winning a Diamond League or running the 12:44? And what was it like to do both in the same race?
In most cases, I would say that the important thing is to win. But now it was in my hometown at my home arena, and I really wanted to run fast there. The last 2 years at the Stockholm Diamond League, I just traveled from another race. So in 2023, I came from Lausanne, and last year I came straight from Oslo. So I kind of felt like shit in the start line. I didn't feel like I could perform as I wanted before my home crowd. So this year I really wanted to run fast and try to put on a show. But in any other case, I would say that finishing first is the most important thing. And I mean, if you're racing against the best, obviously someday you're gonna have to run fast to win. So focus on winning, and then the time will come.
How much do these races take out of you? You mentioned last year, going from, I think you said Oslo to this Diamond League, and your body just not feeling good on the start line. Do these races, did that 12:44 effort take a lot out of your body? And how long does it take in training to recover and rebalance? And what do those first few easy runs feel like?
Yeah, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of time to recover, and I still am a little bit left in that 800, 1500 mindset where it's easier to run back-to-back races. And I got to realize that last year. I raced a bit too much, more than my body could handle. So before the Olympics, I caught a stress fracture in my tibia. So yeah, I had to cancel the Olympics basically. So this year I'm way more careful to make sure that I'm fit when I really need to. So I took the day after the race completely off and traveled here to St. Moritz. And then I had just 2 more days of just easy runs. And then I just took it like day by day. I felt pretty good 4 days after, so then I started doing an easy threshold. And after that, I just started to ease into my normal rhythm. Now it's, 10 days after the race, so now I feel pretty good. I would say that I'm basically back to normal, but now did a quite tough training day yesterday, so now I'm still feel quite fatigued. But yeah, unless you're racing, you should feel quite tired all the time as a runner.
Are you training with people? What's your coaching setup? Give some light to the listener on kind of your everyday training setup and system.
So when I'm back in Sweden, I do most of my workouts alone. I have my coach with me, and he usually paces me on a bike. But now here on training camps, I usually try to find someone to run together with. So here in Moritz, more runners are joining every day, and they are quite decent, to say the least. So you can usually find someone to run with. So we say I enjoy running with people, but when you do this threshold-based training, you try to find your own intensity. So you have to find someone that's basically at your level, so both can benefit from it. And that's not easy all the time.
Especially when you've run the times you have. You mentioned doing a lot of your workouts alone back home. Do you feel like that has made you a mentally tougher runner? I used to do a lot of my workouts alone, and I feel like it was miserable at times, but eventually I got comfortable in my own skin, and I feel like it allowed me to be able to race from the front then because I knew I didn't in training, and or it just gave me more confidence in my ability to push and get things done regardless of the circumstance. Whereas people on teams, it was like they could only execute workouts if they had the perfect training partner with them. And I was like, gonna be me.
Yeah, a little bit like that. I mean, since I run quite a lot by myself, I can sometimes feel pretty comfortable being in the front. And that's why, like, for instance, in Stockholm, I just, when the other guys started to decrease the pace and the wave lights slipped away a bit, I just went to the front and pulled the last, like, 2,200, I think it was. So you get pretty comfortable in doing that. I say it's more fun to run with a group and a little bit easier mentally when you just have to pull every other interval. But when you train by yourself, you have the opportunity to change a bit more. You can listen to how your body feels for the day, and you can make the adjustments. That's good for you. If you run in a group, you kind of have to sell into the other guys' programs. So I learned with my background that I really need to listen to my body. So that's quite good to for my setup to run by myself, that I really can do adjustments basically at every session.
When you run, 1244 and you have the strength of 59.23 and the speed of 332, you're looking at medals. I think there's really no other way to put it. You're definitely one of the guys who's leading the charge in the 5K. What do you think it will take to win one in Tokyo? Where's your mind at? And how much will it mean to you to even line up in Tokyo after, as you mentioned, not being able to race the Olympics last year?
Might come to a surprise to most people, but I actually believe that I have the biggest chance at the 10K. So I'm racing both in Tokyo. I ran 26:53 on the streets earlier this year, and then I had like 13:10 the last 5K, and I feel way fitter now than I did there in January. So I believe there's my biggest chance. But I'm doing both. So I hope to perform at both events. But basically, you just have to be really fit. And for the 10K, it's quite similar, I would say. Basically, every championship, it's going to be a fast last K. You have to run like 53 the last 400, 54. So you just need to train to be as so you can be as fresh as possible before the last lap, have a good position, then obviously be able to kick. I haven't had the best kick, I would say, the last couple of years, but I've worked quite a lot on that the last year now. So hopefully it's going to be good enough for Tokyo. For the 5K, it's usually like 220 the last
yeah,
K.
Is Jakob beatable? Do you think he can be beat?
If he is as fit as he can be, you don't really know now after the injuries. But then I believe no one is unbeatable, but he is as close as you can be. I trained a few workouts with him in Sierra Nevada.
Really?
And yeah. And when you go to the race specific workouts, he is quite insane. Basically, I have to adjust with like the length of the intervals and rest to train with him.
And this is as a 1244 guy.
Yeah. So
crazy.
He's strong.
Tell me stories from that. How'd you get invited? Did you invite yourself? And what can people out there learn from your learnings of training with one of the best athletes we've ever seen, ever?
Yeah, so obviously I'm Swedish, he's Norwegian, so we're neighboring countries. We have gone to like the same training camps for quite some time, and I would say that in the last year, as I have become good enough to be able to do some of the works with him. And well, I've known him for quite some time, both he and his brothers. And we have the same manager also, so we have good connections there. Basically, it's just that we are at the same place, and we talk to each other, and if both can benefit from the training, yeah, we feel good for it from it. I would say, like, threshold wise, I'm kind of at his level now. I can pull like every other interval, and both feel that they are at the right zone. But when you try to run faster, it's just, yeah, you can run so fast without getting lactate. It's insane.
Was that crazy
Sorry.
to you to witness? Just like
Yeah.
how much work he's doing at the speeds he's doing at.
Yeah, it's yeah. We did a workout like in January, like 1 or 2 weeks after Valencia, when I ran the 26:53, and yeah, I just got dropped. So so yeah, he's very good.
I know he stays.
Everyone who saw the inter season knew what level he is. So it was just insane, strong.
Totally. I know he stays, it sounds similar to you, and it sounds just kind of the threshold model pretty well within his means in terms of, you know, how hard he trains. With some of those hard sessions, how hard is he going? How hard are you going? And were you impressed with his ability to, because I think I saw a video of him doing one workout, and the speeds he was running, I was like, he looked like he was jogging. Like, he didn't even look like he was trying. Was that the case, or does he ever grit his teeth?
No, he runs like very efficient, so it always looks like he's going, yeah, very slow. But then you look like at the bike in front of him, and it's like, oh, holy shit, this is fast. But I would say that, yeah, even for the hard workouts, it's still pretty controlled for him. That's like the base, like the philosophy of all the training, that everything should be controlled, so you can do a lot of it, but yeah, not be too fatigued. And that's the thing with, when I trained with him for most of the workouts, I would be able to keep up with him, but I wouldn't be able to keep up with him at the right intensity. I would just get cooked and probably be able to take a lot easier the coming days. So it's kind of mentally challenging to just, you know, I can keep up with him, but I have to like put my ego aside to make the right decision.
Where do you view your future in sport right now? As in, like, distance wise, are you like, you know, it's not very intent on the track obviously this year, but do you want to run a marathon? Are you going to go to the half? You know, where do you view your future?
I would say that for 5 and 10 will be my focus, at least up until LA. And after that, maybe I'll move into marathon. I don't know yet. I will see how it will develop. But I feel that I have a lot of still have a lot of potential on the track that I really haven't realized yet. And I've been, I can't say unlucky, but I've had, before Rio Olympics, I got a stress fracture in my navicular bone, so I missed that. Before Tokyo Olympics, I tore a meniscus in a knee, and now before Paris, I got the stress fracture in tibia. So I really just want to run the Olympics on the track. So this time I hope to be smart enough to be able to do
that. Jakob, do you think, I've had this debate with people, if he goes up to the marathon one day, how successful do you think he can be?
I mean, seems like he's successful in everything he just puts his mind to. It's hard to say with the marathon, because that's kind of a different beast compared to every other, like all the shorter distances. I mean, for half marathon, I'm pretty sure that if he just focused on it, he would be able to at least run sub 58. He is that strong. But for the marathon, I'm not sure. Obviously fast. uh, I don't know if it would be world record fast, but in the low twos, I would say, probably.
Looking ahead the rest of the season, what do you got planned, scheduled, and where's your mind at? It seems like you want to win and you want to run fast and do both those things at once. What are you looking to in the coming months, before Tokyo?
So the 11th of July, I'll run the 5K in Monaco Diamond League. After Stockholm now, I just want to race. So I don't really care about the times there. I want to try to go for the win or just get as good a placing as possible. If I could run fast, that would obviously be a bonus. But after that, I will go into more of a base training period again. I will run the Swedish nationals. And in Sweden, we have like this kind of match against Finland every year. So I'll run that one as well. And I'll also run a 3K race in Stockholm. But I won't do a lot more racing apart from that. It's just trying to build a very good fitness before the worlds, because as I said before, I want to go for a medal there.
Gold is the goal, though, right?
Try to stay a little bit humble, but obviously gold is in my mind. But I mean, I've never run a global championship final, so it's not just to go there and try to get a gold. Because I would say, like for the 10K, could probably be like 10 people that could say they are gold contenders. Mm-hmm. There are a few Africans, a few Americans that I would say also goes for the gold. So that I'm going to be one of them, hopefully.
You will be one of them. I have no doubt. I mean, I think when you win a Diamond League and you're running the times you have, you're a very humble guy from my short time spending it with you, but you have every right to say you're going for gold. I think winning a Diamond League title can give you that right. Speaking of your perspective on America, and sure, I'm American, but if you want to shit talk us, be within your rights there. We used to suck at distance running. There was up, and then it was just quiet, and it was exciting to watch the U.S. championships, but no one really ever went on to do anything. We were competing to make finals, but I think recently, with Grant Fisher, the 15 is a different combo. Even the 15, sure, we'll bring it up. The 15, we now have guys, Cole winning last year, and then Grant in the 5 and 10, is running remarkable, times, winning medals, and then someone like Nico even running, I think 12:45 at a Diamond League. Finally, man, finally we don't suck. So what's your perspective on American distance running from an outsider?
It's quite fun that you say that America sucks in the history, and then you can look at the Sweden. I mean, we last time we had a medal at the global championship, it was I think in Montreal, 76.
Wow.
So we don't have a lot of modern history, at least. But I would say that it's very nice that both Europeans and Americans are finally catching up and can be contenders at the global stage. I've raced against Grant a couple of times, and I mean, he's a very good guy. I really like him a lot, so it's very nice to see all the progressions he's made the last few years. And Nico, he is obviously a huge talent. He's going to be very dangerous for a long time now. And then you have Graham Blanks, of course, also with his races in both Paris and in Oslo. So there are a lot of good guys there now. I've been training a lot in the States, basically mostly in Flagstaff. So I got to know a lot of the American guys, and yeah, it's fun that we're a new group of guys that can compete at the highest level.
What's the biggest difference in your opinion in like American run culture versus like European run culture from a professional standpoint?
I would say that up until the last few years, it has been quite similar. I mean, this double threshold thing, it didn't come here to Sweden until like 2018. I guess the first one who did it. So I guess it has been more of a, try to get quite a high mileage and then just hammer 2 or 3 workouts per week. And I think now, like in the last few years, when like the knowledge is spread and everyone talks with each other, and you have the internet, you can read a lot of things. Everything starts to like melt together a bit. I don't think. Well, I don't know if any Americans have like fully adapted like the Norwegian method, but I know like threshold and control paces has become more bit more regular in the Americans training. I know like Luis Grijalva quite well, and they have adapted some kind of way in that in Mike Smith's training, and so I think there are a lot of similarities. I could say that like the biggest difference is that it feels like the Americans really like the long run.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if we like it. I just think we do it.
Yeah, it's like, but it feels like it's like a staple. You really need to do that all year round and everything. I obviously do a long run during base training, but now I haven't really done a long run since I would say middle of May, maybe. During racing season, I don't really see the point for that in the 5K. So I would say it's quite a big difference.
Are you getting most of your volume from easy runs? Are you doubling a lot?
Like if I do a double threshold, I get like 35K that day.
Wow.
And it's still like if I do a 5K workout, I usually do an easy threshold in the afternoon. So a tough specific day in the summer could still be like 28K for me. So if I have 3 of those per week, then if I just run like 2 times 8K or 2 times 10K on the easy days, I still get like 160K that week.
Wow. Yeah. That's crazy. How fast are you going on these easy days, or slow?
Quite fast.
Really?
The guys that it depends on who you're asking, but the guys I'm living with here in St. Moritz, they don't really want to run with me on the easy runs. So I think before I started talking with you here, I was out on an easy run. I think I averaged like 3:48 or something. And we're here in altitude, so
yeah. Crazy. Yeah, maybe you should get tested to see if you're human or not. Could not be me. That's the reason I'm on the other side of the microphone. Wrapping here up today. Really appreciate your time and the conversation. I've had a lot of fun. What would you say drives you? Like, what drives you? What motivates you? Obviously, you look back at that 2014 era, winning that bronze medal, then having all the injuries and setbacks, and I feel like it's kind of like round 2 of your life, of your career, bouncing back. What would you say drives you presently?
I would say it's like just finding out how good I can become. I mean, when I had my breakthrough, obviously I just thought that now I'm gonna break world records and I'm gonna win Olympic gold medals. But then I had like my off years from like 2016 up until 2020, and at that point I just like continue with running because I enjoy running, and I want to see. I wanted to try to come back at the level I was at. If I could make a few championships, I would be very happy. But then the last few years, I've really developed, and when I had my tough years, I studied at the university. So like in the beginning of the 2020s, I was just like thinking, is it running I should focus on, or should I go step more into my like civil career? But so like I say, I think like if you take if you check at the opportunity cost, I probably would have lost money focusing here on running. But I say that the thing that just drives me is just to see how good I can become. Obviously, now I have a chance at medaling at global championships, so now that's a big motivator for me. But 3 years ago, I wouldn't say it was, and it was just get back into good shape and see how good I can become.
Final serious question I want to ask you, for those who have listened to this conversation, look up to you, your career, maybe heard your name for the first time last week. What's the final takeaway message that you want to leave with the audience as they close out this podcast? What do you want them thinking?
I would say just when you struggle and you have problems, just if you love what you're doing, just continue and see how good it can become, how good you can become. I mean, I had basically 4 years with really bad results, but I made it through that, and now I'm one of the best runners in the world. So it might, just because you hammer through it doesn't mean that you guaranteed gonna be one of the best, but you won't find out if you give up. So just try for as long as you can. One day maybe you'll succeed.
Love it. Great words, man. Appreciate them. I do want to ask you one more question that I forgot to ask you, but I wanted to ask you, and you kind of alluded to it earlier. Sweden, when you think of Sweden, I'd love to go one day. I've never been to Europe, really want to go. But when I think of Sweden, I don't think of fast runners. I think of all the beautiful, real Instagram reels and TikToks I see of nature and beauty and pastries and, the whole 9 yards. What does it mean to you to kind of be leading the charge in the country, to be like, we can be good at running? And how much would it mean to you to win a medal? As well as just continue to be dominant on the world stage at these diamond leagues, at these races, and represent your country. What does that mean to you?
I kind of got chills here just thinking about it. No, but since we haven't had a lot of good runners historically, I know that a lot of people are like very happy that we finally have someone that could be a contender. I get a lot of messages from Swedes that tells me that I'm inspiring them, and I mean, just when we stand before the starting line with the baskets where we put our stuff, one of the kids just looked up to me and said, "Yeah, you're my idol," and that's just like warms my heart. So if I could bring home a medal to Sweden, that would obviously mean very much to me, because I really feel that I have the support of the Swedes.
Andreas, final question for you. The question I ask every guest on every single podcast. It's a fun one, ending on a light note. If you had Gordon Ramsay, so we're going across the country from Sweden to the UK, Gordon Ramsay coming over to your house for dinner, what would you choose to make for him?
Oof. I mean, I know that he likes hamburgers, and I've kind of been a burger nerd, so maybe I would just try to make him a smash burger.
I love it. That's American of you. I feel like smash burgers are American. Am I wrong there?
No. You're very right. It's like, but in Sweden we didn't have a good burger culture. But then there was this one guy back in 2012, 2013 who just went to like a field trip to America for like 6 weeks. Just went to like all the good places. I think it was from tips from George Mote's Hamburger America. And then he opened a burger restaurant in Sweden that had a huge success, and then it just spread. So
wow,
I would say if you come to Stockholm, there are a lot of good smash burger places.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, Andreas, thank you so much. Really appreciate the time. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I haven't known your name for a while, but the short time that I have, I've been really impressed with how you carry yourself, your humility, and your work ethic, and that's always awesome to see, and always great to elevate on this platform. So, if you've got a new fan of me today, I'll be cheering you on the rest of your races this season, and really appreciate the time. It means a lot.
Thank you very much. It's been really nice talking to you too.